Oh yes, we're alive. We're alive and well. Let me turn the D&D on because can't have that going off during the live. We're live to talk about some BS. We're live to talk about some BS. Let me just share out the link real quick because this needs to be discussed. It's being discussed online. We're seeing it happen. One of their neighbor's kids. Why are you playing? Okay. Hold on. Let me just send this link out. Oh, that was Twitter that was playing that. What the? Okay. Yeah, we're gonna discuss this whole narrative thing because it's really pissing me off. Like we're still trying to spin this narrative that hip hop is dead. I just I don't know, man. Like there man, if I had the Infinity Gauntlet, man, I've said this so many times, bro. These people would not even exist. Oh, hold up. 316, 326. Oh, okay. Hold up. I lost a couple subscribers. We gotta get active on this again. Don't worry. We're gonna be back outside. We're gonna be back outside. There's just a lot of stuff going on right now that I just had to secure. I'm gonna share that out to Twitter. All right. Let me just get the screen recording set in stone here. Because we got to talk about a tweet I seen this morning talking about this. And it's been a narrative that has been pushed nonstop for the last year or two, but it's ramping up again. I thought this would have stopped, but no. What's good, Quickie, bro? How you doing, man? Hope all is well. Thank you for tuning in. Just trying to pull up this tweet of this Fulio. He's already made a bunch of Isaac Hayes the third. Guy has his father rolling in the grave. I swear to you. I'm gonna share my screen so y'all can see what I'm talking about. What's this guy's name again? Yeah, Isaac Hayes. Okay. All right, you see this here? And I put a little comment there at the bottom. All right, so we're gonna get into it. He says the Kendrick and Drake beef killed commercial rap music. It turned hip hop into an engagement art form, not a chart performing one. Everyone showed up, debated, replayed, picked sides, ran the numbers up. Meanwhile, the Billboard Hot 100 kept moving. The beef fed the masses and killed the charts. So I see why labels are cutting back. Black folks would rather tear down artists from both sides when collaboration is what drives expansion. I am so sick and tired of these people. All right, we're gonna go line by line and break down why this is so stupid, right? Because at the end of the day, look what I even put. I said propaganda so early in the morning. Please fix your app first. Grown ass man obsessed with charts so much he got to parrot the talking points of algorithmic music listeners. Take your tears to fan base, please, because that's the app that he has that's not doing too well. I tried downloading that app. I actually tried supporting this guy. You know what I mean? Years ago, but I didn't know he was a bitch ass nigga. I'm sorry. I just didn't know. Like this is crazy. So the Kendrick and Drake beef killed commercial rap music. Let's start there. I don't know about you, right? But for me per se, I don't really give a fuck about commercial rap music, whatever the hell that's supposed to be, right? I don't care at the end of the day what is charting, who's charting, how long something. Like I do not care. The only reason why I've entertained these discussions now on the channel and with discourse now is because this I have no clue it was this bad, right? It was the beef that opened my eyes up to how people literally live their lives by the charts, right? But I don't care what's commercial, right? Then again, me myself, I'm not someone that parties every week, right? I used to be like that when I was younger, right? Right after high school, going into my 20s. Yeah, I was turning up a lot. The clubs were still decent at that point. They're not fun now, right? But if your idea of commercial rap music is because or the reason why you want it or obsessed with it so bad is because you want stuff to turn up to or you want to be outside, then you just need to find more music, right? And the club scene, the party scene, I still think is horrible now, but they're still playing music from before, right? So the idea that you think that commercial rap music is so important is just extremely flawed to me. You know what I mean? They've been cooking Isaac the third. It's well deserved. No, 100%, yo. I seen the comments, and I'm like, bro, he just comes out here with bad take after bad take. You can't get mad at people for saying that this is some type of PR campaign. You really can't. There's no way, because this is what it looks like. You need to send out your subordinates or whoever the hell it is to come out here and complain that rap music is horrible. So then your guy, because we know who they're trying to do promo for, comes in and then does whatever he needs to doesn't or whatever he needs to do, and then they're gonna say, "Oh my God, music is safe." This is very stupid, right? And it's the same Drake idiots that are saying one person killed hip hop, which are saying it's Kendrick, right? But then they expect one person to save hip hop. That's not gonna happen, right? I already made multiple predictions for how this Drake album is gonna go rollout wise on this channel. It ain't gonna end well. You wanna know why? Because his fan base already set him up for failure. They have their expectations to the moon, mind you, right? So if Drake isn't charting the way that he was 6, 7, 8 years ago, they're gonna blow a gasket, and that's what's gonna happen, right? Now, I'm not saying he don't gonna get immediate plays right away, for sure, right? But it's the longevity that I always says is what matters, and I don't think Drake, longevity wise, in terms of album releases, has been able to stick the landing this decade, right? He has his singles to pump his albums from previous bodies of work, right? But when it comes to you staying on the charts with that consistency of number one or whatever it may be, he hasn't really been able to do that. Now, mind you, I don't really care what type of shit he charts or whatever he streams. I just need to like the music, and that goes for any artist. But to these idiots, right, they dictate their music taste by what is on the charts. So I can't really speak to that testament, right? Because I'm a normal person. I don't think like a hive-minded fool like that, right? I don't look to the charts to dictate what's hot. I don't care what people say is hot. I listen to it first myself to see if I like it, and then I'm gonna go from there, right? So this idea of commercial hip hop to me is flawed, and it's more of an academics type thinking, more of the modern, I don't want to say like kind of like hype beast adjacent, you know what I mean? Where it's like people who come in, they like lukewarm rappers, safe rappers. Drake is one of them, right? And then they go and say, yeah, so rap isn't charting the way that it used to. So rap is dead, because that's all they know. All they know is to view the charts, and then that's what they listen to, or they let it dictate what is hot, what's not. You know what I mean? And then they go from there. And the whole idea of the chart thing is flawed in itself, because most of these people who do this, right? I feel like the majority of hip hop listeners aren't like this, but the most of the people who do this, they kind of stand specific artists like Drake and Nicki Minaj. Like, they're the ones that from my experience, from seeing, they're the two fan bases that really push this numbers argument. Of course, there's going to be people in every fan base that does like the charts or pays attention to them, but they're the two, from what I see, that push this shit the most, right? So they compare everybody to how they chart, and that's already a flawed system in itself. So if this person doesn't chart as long as this person, then they're not as successful, right? And the person is usually Drake. They compare everyone to Drake. This is why I tell his fans, if you're ever in a back and forth with them, that I don't use Drake as the standard, right? So you can't call this a flop because it only charted 2 weeks. If you're comparing it to Drake, right, you're being disingenuous, because then now you're going to just say everybody's a flop. And that's what I don't like to do. It becomes a whole muddied discussion, and I hate it. I hate everybody that uses this mentality. It really pisses me off, because I never knew how mentally unstable a lot of people who are in the space are, right? And it's not just the fans, it's the podcasters taking the money, it's the people pushing the narratives, it's people like Isaac Hayes as well, that just have this weird contagious bitch assery. I don't know what to call it, but like, you people do not have a mind of your own. You let the charts dictate that, and then whoever's paying you to push that narrative, you let them dictate that too. And I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? So that was a long one, but that's my slight to him on the first line of what he said. Let me just see what quick he said here. The club scene deserves to be trashed because it's low-key the chart survival look. Ooh, rather than understanding our hip-hop culture is underground, it's like the 2000s. None of us cared about numbers for real, for real. Exactly, bro. And the thing is, I'm only 28 years old, right? But I've been listening to hip hop because of my father from like 3 years old, right? Like, my earliest memories was listening to hip hop music, right? And he was a huge hip hop head. He was always going to New York every week back in the 90s and shit when it was getting crazy. He was always over there, right? So, I was really raised on the music. Now, I didn't know as a kid, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old and onward, what was charting, right? You didn't have to tell me Jesus Walks charted here. I was loving that song. You didn't have to tell me Hard Knock Life was charting here. I love that song. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't give two shits. And it went all the way until I became a teenager, was listening to hip hop, the blog era. And then now we go into the 2010s and the 2020s. It was the same thing for me. I didn't give a shit what Mr. Morale did. I didn't give a shit what Damn did. I didn't give a shit what To Pimp a Butterfly did. I didn't give a shit about what Life of Pablo. I could care less about none of that. It was only when I started seeing the academics, the people outside, the understanding of hip hop, right, that are really pushing this narrative going into the late 2010s and the 2020s. And I'm here like, why do we care about Billboard, right? The only way I could be plugging Billboard and like be putting my full attention to it is if I'm getting paid. If I was getting paid by Drake streams or Kendrick streams, or Billboard was paying me to promote their chart system, then I would be as infatuated. But none of you are getting paid. None of you are getting paid. So what the fuck does it matter if this charted here, right? Or this charted there? That's the part I will never understand, right? So I get what you're saying, and I agree, because back in the day, and it's not even that long ago, right? We're talking about like 10 years, maybe a little less. I didn't give a shit what charted here. I didn't care where Travis was. I didn't care where this person was, that person was. I did not care. Look at Dolce. She sold what, 8K, 11K the first week, but then her shit went on to have 1 billion plus streams by the end of its run. She's still touring off that mixtape till now. That shit don't matter, right? So it really never really occurred to me it never was important to me what charted where, how long it was there, this and that. No, it's just so stupid. And people genuinely think like this. So I'm just like, yo, there's something wrong with you. No, like there's fully something wrong with you. I'm not holding my tongue no more. I'm going to tell you, you're actually stupid, right? And you shouldn't be listening to music. Your music listening privileges should be revoked if you use the charts. Point blank, period. Send them to the gulag, nuke the whole fan base. I don't care. That's how I feel, because you guys are ruining the experience of enjoying music. And it's these same people who are in the industry, knowing that hip hop is underground and always has been underground, that are trying to push this whole narrative that, oh, it needs to be here, it needs to be there. You guys don't care. Isn't this Isaac Hayes guy like in his 40s? What fucking club are you going to? It's academics. He's like almost 42. You guys don't need to be partying. Like, come on, bro. What are we talking about, man? I'm already over the club scene and I'm only 28 years old. Granted, like I said, I spent my earlier years really partying a lot, like back-to-back weekends, Saturday, Sunday, all the time. It was fun then. It gets tiring after a while. You know what I'm saying? And like, I've done it so much, I'm just like, I don't care about the club no more. You go have a day party every now and then when it's summertime. Have fun, enjoy yourself, you know? But me, I'm more of a get-together vibe. I like cookouts, barbecues. We could do that. You know what I'm saying? We have some Dominoes and some food. We could do that. But in terms of like or vacationing, obviously, we're gonna put it, that's another thing. But when it comes to the club, I'm not going to no club spending $40 and then $700 on a booth. For what? To stand on chairs for 3 hours? I'm good. I could do that at home. And I got a bottle right here. Like, what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, let me continue what you said here. We just love the great music, and that's why I think Jay-Z was disingenuous when he was one of the ones talking about numbers, but also was battling in the underground. He rather capitalized from it. Oh, that's a good point, right? That's a good point. And I think that, you see, Jay-Z is very political. You know what I'm saying? And we've seen it recently, obviously, with some of the interviews he's done. He speaks like a politician. And you know, that could be to his detriment, obviously, in these cases, because we can peep that, you know, it's not as authentic. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of these people also, they spend a lot of time in these upper echelon spaces and they kind of lose themselves, you know what I mean? Or that ability to be realistic and their authentic self versus when, you know, how they once were back in the day, you know? So, you know, that was a good point. Disrespecting our pillars, 100%. Like, it will always be underground. The charts never mattered, right? It's the cultural reaction and the movement itself that makes up the significance of the song. It's never the charts, right? And mind you, Billboard changes its rules every other week, I swear, right? So the metrics that were being held up here, they're not going to be the same to how they are now, or where they were 2 years ago. They're not going to be the same to where they are now. It's just, that's too inconsistent. And it's also controlled, right, by people who don't look like us at the end of the day. So why would I trust their metric system? Why would I want to use it, right? Now, I know people on the Drake side that like to say, oh, Grammys, 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 that's a white validation. It's white validation. What do you think Billboard is? Do you think that's black validation whatsoever? No. And you have black people who listen to these fools that are saying, yeah, 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 that shit's not hard. This shit is hard because it's on the charts. Oh my God, there's no hip hop song on the charts. That means it's Kendrick's fault. It has to be. So it's Kendrick's fault for why this whole entire genre for the last 15 years has been filled with people who aren't genuine and just wanted a quick bag or clout and now can't sustain themselves because they can't creatively make art. That's his fault, right? No, it's everyone's fault for allowing this bullshit to go on for so long, right? No gatekeeping either, and that's a big problem. 100% hip hop should be gatekept. It 100% should be, because look where we're at now. Now most of the industry is filled with people who are just half-assing it. If anything, they could pump out 1 or maybe 2 albums, and that's it for them. That's it. As opposed to people who are like, okay, you know what? Yeah, let me come back with a solid body of work. I'm going to live my life, go through some shit. I'm going to be inspired. I want to create more, right? Instead of just pumping out music that's like doesn't matter. 30-song filler albums doesn't matter. And you keep doing it every year just to be consistent, just to get out of your deal that you didn't have the smarts to realize you signed a messed up deal. It's just so much, right? And it really pisses me off how simple it would be if everybody could just listen to the music they like, have their debates, make them healthy, and move on, right? But everything's about proving a point. So that's why they focus so heavy on the charts. My rapper that I stand is more better than your rapper because he's the biggest artist of all time. And I say he's the best rapper ever, despite him only making pop music and those being his biggest songs. But he's a rapper. Notice the verbiage. Notice how they type out these posts. Drake is the highest charting rapper, right, on the Billboard charts right now. And then you look at the songs and they're not rap songs, but they say he's the hardest charting rapper. That's the problem. They need to word it that he's the longest charting artist that makes rap music sometimes, right? But he's not charting off rap music. But you see, that's what happens, and you pay all these blogs and pages to promote this foolishness. Here we are. Right? What's good, Pepper? This Isaac rhetoric makes hip hop sound so pussy. The genre survived censorship, police brutality, and the Pac and Biggie beef, but niggas complaining about charts. Thank you very much. There's been much worse than this. What are we doing? God forbid that the charts don't have rappers on them. That means they're not putting out the best music, right? But the music that you like, because I think we need to really be asking these people who say these things like academics, Isaac Hayes, all these other Drake idiots. Are you not listening to music actively right now? Is there no music that you enjoy? Because if that's the case, like you absolutely have no interest in anything that's dropping right now, you saying something like this along the lines of it isn't totally flawed. It is still flawed because you're blaming the beef and Kendrick and Drake and all this and that, right? Well, Kendrick really, right? But if you feel like you don't have any interest in music right now, like whatsoever, hip hop, then you can maybe get that off. Like, oh, it doesn't really feel the same, right? But I'm not looking for things to blame, or I'm not looking for things to just conveniently blame that on. You know what I mean? When we know what the true issue is. And that's another thing that I think a lot of these people don't want to admit. The true issue is we allow the hip hop space to be filled with a lot of bullshit, whether it's artists or podcasters or people who are in the business, all aspects of it, right? The issue is that we've been conditioned over the last 15 or so years, 20 years to accept the bullshit. So there's a lot of people who really like the bullshit. So they don't want to be able to admit that their music taste isn't the best, right? And that's where we're at right now. So you get takes like this. At the end of the day, you should, guys, I don't understand why people like have these expectations for these trash rappers. Like, you know what I mean when I say trash rappers, the artists that don't try, artists that don't innovate, they don't age, right? Like it's just the same bullshit, right? Why are your expectations so high for them? It makes them have some sort of self-reflection, and that's what they don't want to do. None of these people know how to self-reflect. Let's be honest, right? So look what he said here. He says it turned hip hop into an engagement art form, not a chart performing one. When has hip hop ever been a chart performing genre? And if I'm not mistaken, I think hip hop is still the most consumed genre of music currently. You might have to correct me on that in terms of that, but that's not reflected on Billboard, right? But that's reflected on the overall status of the genre. They're not talking about that. That's not enough for them, right? I promise you, if Drake were to drop his album right now and he filled up the top 10 with all his songs, they would finally be happy. These goofers would finally be happy because he's up there on the charts again. They're gonna be like, oh my God, yes, we're back. We're saying hip hop is back. And watch 9 out of 10 of those songs not even be hip hop. Be 2 dance hall songs, a soca song, an Afrobeat song. Then you're gonna do an EDM song, a pop song, two pop songs, and then like 1 hip hop song maybe, and then 1 hip hop song with a beat flip that is an EDM track. That's exactly what it's gonna be. All right. So I never seen this. I never looked for hip hop to be a chart performing art form. And if it was one, that's all good for hip hop. I guess it's another thing it could cross off. But again, that does nothing for me. I'm pretty sure while Drake was, charting with Scorpion or whatever, because I never finished that album, right? But he had the charts that year in 2018. I was still listening to Kendrick Lamar. He had just dropped the Black Panther album. I was still listening to Damn and all his other music at that time in 2018. I was listening to Travis Scott. I was listening to a few other people, Pusha T, right? Kanye West. And I was listening to their albums, no problem, going on about my day, despite Drake being the best or top artist on the charts that year for Scorpion. I didn't care, right? And those albums still sound just as hard to me at that time than they did when they released. So it was just like, I don't operate off of this. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so weird for me. And that's why I'm unpacking it right now, because it's like I've never thought like this in my life. The fact that people actually think like this is really genuinely scary. We are so cooked as a society. And I pray that none of these people have a say in the music industry going forward. Like I really want there to be a full reset with everything. And that's partially why the charts are kind of the way they are right now. We're in the middle of a reset, right? But the people who are have addressed that, who understand what is going on with music right now, and we're seeing the facade of all the people not all we thought, but the people who were positioned to be praised as really good, they're not that good. We're not the ones complaining. No, it's the algorithmic people that are complaining. It ain't us, right? But this is why I say it's a narrative. They're pushing this to continue to create a propaganda around this release. They're trying to make people think that this is some type of big concern, so that when the artist they want comes in, they have a narrative fulfilled. And that's not the case. It's not going to work, right? We can see the tactics, right? Hip hop has always been an engagement art form. He's trying to sound smart, but he's not saying anything. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't understand, yo. Like people, this is a genre of music that people genuinely feel, right? It's in their soul, you know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, the discussions, the discourse, when it's healthy, right? The emotions that you get from these genuine artists over the last 20, 30 years in hip hop that really stamped the genre. You know what I'm talking about. The greats, the legends, some of the top of the best, right? That's not something that you can recreate or represent on a Billboard chart, you know? People always engaged via discourse. People always were involved together. People are always brought into a space to understand hip hop, depending on the artist that it is. And it created a community, right, of genuine people who supported this genre. And this is how hip hop was built. Now we fast forward to the 2000s or whatever. Not even. We'll go back to the 90s, right? Because that's when people really were starting to, party to hip hop music for real. Yeah, 90s, right? Again, we could say, listen, someone's gonna fact check me and say it was the 80s or whatever. Sure. The point is that from back then, right, we've seen that hip hop was able to bring people together. No one was focusing on the charts. And if anyone was, it was the artists, the A&Rs, and the label. By all means, they should be focusing on the charts. It matters to them. It doesn't matter to us. So as a consumer, why the fuck do I care what charted where or how long it did? If I don't like the song, I don't like it. But it will never be an indication to me of how the song actually is or how good it is, right? And that's where I stand. The art form itself has always been built on community, built on understanding, cultural understanding, perspective, right? And innovation, right? And the genuine artists who were pushed to the forefront, they were always the ones spearheading that. We've lost a lot of those genuine artists. We don't have that many anymore, And that's the unfortunate case that we find ourselves in, right? And that's what I'm just so confused about what he typed here, because it's like you're not saying anything. Pepper, mother effers think we slow, like we don't know what propaganda looks like. It's full on propaganda. I'm sorry. I also wish these niggas would get top on the phone and talk to Dot. That's who they are really frustrated by. Passive aggressive niggas. Yes, they are. But they ain't gonna get him on the phone. They can't get Kenny on the phone. I don't even, honestly, he should never even waste his time with people like this. Yo, like, I look at people like this and I'm like, yeah, you're just a waste, like in all aspects. I don't care. And I'm that type of person, especially I've gotten to that point now. I don't care how many accomplishments you have. I don't care how great you are. I don't care how many people you interviewed, how much credibility you have in the industry. You say some stupid shit, we're gonna call you out for it. Because I think people look at what they've done and they're like, you can't question me. How dare you? They say, no, I can, and I will. I'll keep going. I don't give a fuck. Right? I will keep questioning your shit. If you say dumb shit, we're gonna hold you accountable, right? You're nobody's above accountability at the end of the day. And when you say stupid shit like this, you're 100% gonna get ripped, and I'm glad you are, because look at it, it's so dumb. I'm even looking at him like, this is stupid, right? So he said everyone showed up, debated, replayed, picked sides, ran the numbers up. What are we talking about? This is a rap beef. Of course people are going to debate, right? There's going to be discourse, but people already picked their sides, right? And the numbers increased based on, really, let's be honest, they both did good, statistically wise, but Kendrick was the one that like ran off on that whole, metric aspect of it in the battle. That's why Drake had to try and discredit him with the bot thing, right? That's the way I look at it, where it's like there's no issue with that. You know what I mean? Like, you're framing it in a way where it was like the industry was never split until this battle happened. Then it split, and then that's why nobody's listening to anybody. I promise you, there's not that many Drake fans online that have the power to make every other rapper's music not stream. I'm telling you that. There's not enough Kendrick fans online that have enough power to make all these other niggas not stream. Right? So where are we going with the everybody chose sides bullshit, blah, blah, blah. The beef was 2 years ago. People moved on. They're asking for better music. They're asking the artists they like to try harder. If you can't step up to the plate, that means your position in the industry is cooked. It's that simple, right? But nobody chose sides, and that's the reason why, the industry's fucked because fans went here and there. No. As you can see, most of these fans were fans of all these artists before this whole thing happened. They're just more stern on what they don't want to take anymore. If this person's putting out bullshit, they're not going to listen, right? Like Drake, for example, he's done a lot of missteps since this battle has ended. People are not necessarily boycotting his music, but they're just taking a stance. Like, I'm not falling for the propaganda. The old tricks don't work. I want to hear new shit if I'm going to listen to your shit. And that's just where I stand. There's nothing wrong with that. But even then, those groups of people that are doing that, there's more people in the world that listen to hip hop versus those people. So it has nothing to do with that, right? There's a change. The change is that Drake isn't able to boom the way that he once did. So now they have to paint in a way that the whole industry's cooked. The whole industry's cooked because Kendrick did fine. Keem did fine. Cole did fine, right? I don't remember how much ASAP did, but I think he did fine, right? So it's like, if we're not comparing to Drake, which is disingenuous, why are we trying to say like there's some whole new issue now because fans went in their separate directions? No, fans are listening to these guys. They're putting out good bodies of work. So what's the problem, right? Even with the Fetty Wap interview, if you really look at what he was trying to say, you will see what that he didn't know what he was talking about. But he was nominated for back-to-back was in the category. Yeah. I saw that. And apparently he didn't even say that in the interview. It was like a Drake fan that just, typed out the caption or whatever. And then when you said the actual interview, also he didn't know what he was saying, like you said. But Kendrick wasn't even a new artist, right? In 2015. He wasn't even nominated for that. It was Meghan Trainor that was nominated and won the award. So that's who he was talking about. But they frame it in a way, right? And despite back-to-back being in there, but they frame it in a way like, oh yeah, he said this about Kendrick, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't even remember, all this and that. You see what I mean? Like, it's just straight propaganda. But the media uses propaganda for it to disrespect Kendrick. I mean, that's what they're gonna do. unfortunately, because he's a standard now. All right. And notice that. Just tell people online that Kendrick's a standard. They get so mad. But I said, why do you compare everything to Kendrick? Why is Drake's previous shit being compared to Kendrick? Why is Kendrick's name being brought up when you're talking about the genre suffering right now? It's pretty obvious. He is the standard. Tell someone that online and watch them get so livid, and then you see why, right? Why are you getting mad if what I'm saying you think isn't true? You should be able to go on about your day. But if I go on your page and I see, oh, Kendrick this, Kendrick that, then I'm sorry, he's the standard, right? So it's just like, what are we talking about? Didn't Isaac pick his side too? Yes. Wasn't he the one who was complaining about the West winning Grammys? Yes. He didn't like Dot winning. Again, passive aggressiveness. Yes, he's only coming out and saying these things right after the first one was after the Grammys, right? When he exposed himself, right? Bitch ass. But then now he does this shit, right? Which means, because we've been seeing them ramp this up for the last few days, it seems like the album is coming soon. I had a theory that the album was coming on April 16th. I'm talking about Drake's album, because of our local area code in Toronto is 416, right? So that would be April 16th. That's my theory. I mean, I'm not listening to it. So, like, if it does drop, have fun with it if you're gonna tune in, I guess, or whatever. But if that's the case, I would kind of make sense why the propaganda is ramping up. But who knows if the album is even gonna drop at this point, right? So, you have that, right? So yeah, and what you said, Pepper, there is facts. He picked a side himself. So why is he talking? And that's the part that's crazy. The academics, the Isaac Hayes, the bitch asses, they're all talking like they're not a part of the issue. Like they haven't picked a side and they're speaking for one. Like their actions don't reflect the side that they picked. That's the part that is insane to me. It's very like disrespectful that you think we're that stupid, right? But it's like they either are too ignorant, right? They're getting paid so they don't care, or they have very horrible self-awareness. It's one of the three, if not maybe all of them. I don't know, right? But this is what we get for platforming these fools. Meanwhile, the Billboard Hot 100 kept moving. Okay. The Billboard Hot 100 kept moving, and I still enjoyed music that I got. I don't know about the rest of these people. And, lately, over the last, like, 4 or 5 months, I've been listening a lot of, like, multiple genres. But a lot of like old school stuff, man, like 90s hip hop, R&B and stuff like that, some old soul, some pop. I even like, when I'm still kind of a wrestling fan now, but like when I was younger, I was a big wrestling fan. So I was into a lot of rock music at that point too. Like I listen to a lot of genres. Don't put me on the ox, right? Hip hop is my favorite genre, but I will have the ox like switching genres to genre every track. So I've been listening to a lot of older stuff, and just in general, just music from the past just hits better no matter what genre it is. That's just how I feel. Now these people, they need something like they're very what's the word, not, I guess you could say short attention span, but like they're like, I don't know what the word is. Maybe one of you can help me out, where it's like they need it right now. They need the new shit now, and then when they get the new shit, they're like, I need another one. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how Drake fans treat his music now, which is why I said Drake is trapped in a cycle. His fans will never fully be satisfied ever, because they always need new shit. So this nigga can't rest. He will never be allowed to rest. Whereas Kendrick fans and other fan bases, they'll let their artists disappear, go live life. Now, granted, don't take too long now. You know what I'm saying? But like, we're not here saying, yeah, we need a new shit. We need a new shit right after the shit just dropped. That's what they do, So that's a lose-lose for him. The beef fed the masses and killed the charts. It didn't kill the charts, right? Because Kendrick charted no problem before. I don't know about the rest of these artists, but Kendrick charted no problem before. That's why we said Dot Era, right? And then, people were getting mad. What do you mean Dot Era? Well, this and that. Look at the charts, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, I said Dot Era. So that's him. You guys have to stop using Drake as the standard if you're engaging in hip-hop discourse. Don't look at how Drake went on a feature run and say that Kendrick has to do his feature run the same way. That's another problem, right? Kendrick did his features and they performed well, right? But then when you compare him to Drake, it's like, no, he didn't do this and that. Stop using Drake as a standard. Tell everybody that you get into back and forth with, right? Because I know this is the main issue. You can identify it, and I guarantee you they all do the same thing. Just tell them to stop using Drake as the standard. Because if you're using him as a standard, you're already engaging in an unfair, disingenuous back and forth, right? Because based on his UMG boosted bot stats, right, no one's gonna be able to compare in rap to him. So they used him as the standard. Remove that from the conversation, and you're gonna have a different convo. And they will most likely block you or try to, change the subject or not even want to engage anymore, right? That's one thing I've identified. If you don't use Drake as a standard, hip hop is doing fine, right? Now, you people, these same ones complaining, you're looking for a number one record to come here and do what God's Plan did 9 or 8 years ago. That's not going to happen now in this climate. It's not. Why? People aren't as happy or as focused on hit music as of right now. There's a war going on. Oil prices are going up. No one can afford anything. I don't know how these people want to go party so much to this shit music when the clubs are so damn expensive, right? There's just too much shit going on right now. People are too aware of what is happening in the real world. And yes, good music will help us distract from that. But this hit, formulaic, algorithmic aspect of music and its listening experience is not gonna do what it once did. That's done. That's over. That shit's well been clapped. So I don't understand why we're trying to, maneuver how things used to be. It's like with J. Cole and his interview run. I was supposed to do a live on that last week. I'm sorry, guys. I had a lot of shit going on. J. Cole's trying to get back to a place where music was before like the pandemic. He's trying to get back to how it was before. That's not gonna happen, right? And you're either too ignorant, Cole, or you have no self-awareness that you're even able to understand that. Anyone with the proper awareness can see this is a very different world than what it was 6 years ago, just even 6 years ago, right? And things are changing so much. There's so much going on. The threat of war is here and there. You never know. There's a draft. Shout out to all my Americans in the chat. There's a draft. You guys are about to have a draft in December. Ages 18 to 25, I think. I don't, listen, Canada's different because here's the problem. I'm above the draft age, right? So I'm glad, right? But the thing is with Canada, we don't have a draft legally from what I know. But if there's like an emergencies act, like let's say we actually have to go to war, they can actually enlist the draft, right? So either way, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But if it did happen, hopefully it doesn't. Right? Same thing with you guys. Hopefully it doesn't, right? But let's go back. There's a draft happening in December. Do you think people really give a shit about what's number 1 or number 2 right now? No. So what are we doing? What are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like that, it's so mind-boggling to me. Because I've never thought like this once in my life. But people move like this is the only way they can consume music. Oh, it didn't chart, so I can't listen to it. It's shit. Well, if it charted higher, that means people are listening to it. So do you like it? Like what? My metric is tours. As long as hip hop artists continue to have successful tours, then genre hasn't died. That's another one right there. Does the chart placements even matter if you're selling out your tours? That's where you're making your money. Cole said it himself, right? I got some good advice. Never quit touring, right? That's the only way we eat in this rap game, right? I'm fucking with your fucking little rap name. He said that himself, right? The Billboard shits do not matter. And I'm beginning to honestly think it comes to the artist. Yeah, to some, that's probably very important. But to a majority of them, especially in hip hop, they don't give a shit about that. They just want to eat. So you're right. Tours is an amazing metric. Let's look at Kendrick Lamar. Just came off a global stadium tour. There's no refuting that. I don't even need to bring Kendrick's name up because that's already set in stone. The other guy, though, he was canceling tours, but that's fun. All right. Look at J. Cole. I'm pretty sure he goes on tour in a couple months, probably. I got my opinions on Cole. I know you guys got your opinions on Cole, but I'm pretty sure his tour should be fine. Cole has always been able to sell in terms of tour-wise, so he should be good. Keem, I think his show is sold out. All right, there you go. Doechii, she was touring off that one album mixtape for 2 years. She's still touring off of it now. She just did, I think, was it Lollapalooza or whatever it's called, or one of those. She did a whole South American music festival for like 3 weeks, right? Then she did the GNX thing, the GNX tour in Australia. Then she did her own tour, right? And then in 2024, when the album came out, she did that little smaller tour as well. She was selling no problem, all sold out, right? I don't know if ASAP's going on tour. I don't know if he is going on tour. I guess we'll have to wait and see because I heard he has another Don't Be Dumb coming out in May, which would be pretty good because I actually kind of like Don't Be Dumb. Helicopter is one of my most played songs of the year. So we'll see obviously with him, right? And then let's see who else has a tour coming up in hip hop. You know what? Let's look it up actually. Upcoming hip hop tours 2026. Anyway, excited for Isaiah Rashad. He dropped a single today and it's fire. Oh yes. I still have to listen to it. I mean, maybe we'll bump it on the stream here because I haven't listened to it yet. Major hip hop tours. We got Dave. Okay, yeah, Dave. He's touring. Oh yeah. I might have to go see that too. Concrete Boys, Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi has a tour. I didn't even. Oh shit. Okay. Don Toliver Octane tour. I'm pretty sure that will be fine because Don Toliver, I think he's done a solo tour. I don't know if he did a solo tour before or he did like a joint tour with like Travis and the Jack Boys guys. I don't remember fully, but his album has been one of the best performing albums this year, right? So we'll see with his tour if the fans actually show up. I actually like Don Toliver, so we'll see what happens. Yeah. ASAP has a Don't Be Dumb tour. Okay, July 1st. Yep. Right. And even Ice Cube's touring. Oh shit, everybody's outside this year. Okay. All right. Not bad. Hot 97 Summer Jam. And then you got Jay-Z, you had Kanye West, right? Obviously it's Kanye, right? And Jay-Z, they're gonna do what they need to do, right? But tours, number one metric in my opinion to show who really got fans. If you got nobody at your tour, something's going on, especially if your streaming numbers are up there. We can't see these streaming numbers. We can't see these plays. That's why I can say anybody's body, not just one rapper, not just Kendrick. No, right? Especially when that narrative was never put on Kendrick before the beef. It was only after. But you know who always had body narratives? The person that he beat. Right? So the last thing he said here. So I see why the labels are cutting back. Black folks would rather tear down artists from both sides with collaboration when collaboration is what drives expansion. Nah, B. That's where I'm gonna completely disagree with you here, right? Because you're making it seem like it's only just this is the first hip hop beef that's ever happened. No, right? This is how you can tell it's bitch assery to its fullest. Who the F is even Isaac the Third? I agree with you. I didn't know who this guy was. I did not know he was the creator of the Fanbase app. I did not know. Maybe you guys know who his father is or whatever, blah, 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 this and that. I didn't know about him, right? I didn't know he had this level of bitch assery. I'm sorry. I swear to you. Because I was just like, what the and then I seen creator of Fanbase. I'm like, oh my God. There was a point in time where I supported your app. Now you're a bitch ass nigga, man. What the hell? That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you find out someone really is on some bitch assery and you're like, that's wild, bro. Like that's what it was. It was like it was in the same moment too. I found out you made the Fanbase app and then you're saying all this dumb shit. I'm like, you just ruined this shit, But no, this isn't the first hip hop beef. Tupac and Biggie literally died. There has been a whole bunch of drill artists that have died in hip hop beefs. That's no problem though, right? You want to support the drugs and all the foolishness that's being said by these other artists, right? But this beef, just because Drake got his ass whooped in the beef so bad, you can't fathom it. So now it's they want to tear down artists from both sides. I promise you, Kendrick and his people don't give two shits about any narrative that Drake or his fans are pushing. That's the difference. The thing is with them, why it's like an insane asylum, energy, is because they actually think they're doing something, right? So when the Drake fans antagonize and try to shit on everything Kendrick does, of course Kendrick's fan base is gonna retaliate. So this is what you see on the timeline, but they never want to discuss where it starts from, and then they're gonna say it's both sides doing this. When I promise you, nobody's trying to tear down Drake. Everything that's being said about Drake, I said from the moment this beef started, was said beforehand. People were always making fun of Drake. People were always making fun of his light skin and his he's emotional, all this and that. People were always saying he wasn't hip hop. Right. And people have always been talking about his unusual behavior. So nothing literally changed when it came to Drake. You can say that changed for Kendrick because I always said before the beef, Kendrick Lamar received genuine criticism. And that's what I liked. I even engaged in some of this criticism back in the 2017s, around there, 2015, and back even with Mr. Morale. Right. And I'm all for people criticizing people genuinely, not on some, I don't like this artist, or a rap beef made me dislike this artist. No, right? But he received genuine criticism back then. when the beef happened, everything is disguised, or I think they mask their hate under criticism and opinion just to get their shit off, right? And God forbid if a Kendrick fan retaliates to them, they get so upset and then paint everybody as horrible, right? No, you guys just want to be able to get your propaganda off without anybody countering your bullshit. But we hold people accountable here. The academics is the Isaac Hayes. They're not used to people holding them accountable. That's why they're fucked up. That's why they're like this, right? As soon as you do, you're the villain. And that's childish. And these are grown men. I'm pretty sure twice my age, right? But they're out here moving like they're fucking 11 years old. This is horrible. This is horrible. I'm sorry. It's a level of bitch assery I'll never be able to understand ever in my life. It's new. Especially those in the industry. I'm reminded when Dottie Euphoria was saying fuck the industry too. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I'm gonna play Euphoria after the stream too. It's been so long since I played the beef songs. I haven't played them in a while. I think the last time was when I was on my trip in February, but I haven't played them in a while. But I'm gonna go spin back Euphoria, yo, because that shit was like, that was my most played song of 2024. That shit was crazy, man. So many things hit even more now with time removed. And I said that when the songs came out, I remember saying, I'm like, Kendrick's a guy that's like, you go back to his music and you get new gems, right? That's not somebody that I want dissing me, right? Because Drake is thinking for the short term to diss this guy now to get ahead of what he's trying to say. Kendrick's thinking long term. Not only am I going to ether you with what I say, but a year, 2, 5, 10 years from now, it's going to age even better when things start to happen. And that's what I sensed. I'm like, ah, shit, Drake, you're in for a long next 4 or 5 years, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, right? And here we are now. Look, 2 years after, and we're still in the aftermath because of these people putting out bullshit. It'll never make sense to me. Have some good water. Yeah. So Isaac Hayes, you're a bitch ass nigga. Sorry. I'm sorry. Like, nobody wants to hear you talk. No one wants to hear your perspective. Fix your app. It's shit. And with takes like this, you shouldn't have no say in hip hop or be on the Grammy board. Right? So when the Grammys be on some bullshit, I guess we can blame this guy. Was he on the Grammy board when Good Kid, Mad City was nominated? Now I'm starting to ask some questions. Now I want to know. Now I want to know, man. Because, like, what type of dumb... And then watch. You go on his page. I'd be surprised if he doesn't have a tweet saying, oh, my tweet got them mad or whatever. Oh, I just spoke the truth. Okay, no, he hasn't said no dumb shit yet. Okay. They always say stupid shit like this. And then when they get held accountable and ripped, they're like, oh, I upset them today. Oh, this and that. Like, are you enjoying this? Right? And you're the one that's complaining. That's the irony, you know? Very strange. Very strange. Let's see if I have some other stuff here. I kind of wanted to briefly get into this too, because Ja Rule was saying some shit, and then they tried to, like, you know, word it in a way where that's not what it was. Okay. Somebody said if Ja Rule's going on a pity party for you, then, you know, you really lost bad. And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't want him speaking out for me either. Let's see if I could play this. Hopefully
the powers that be on that side very good at what they do when it comes to doing things behind the scenes as well. In the Kendrick and Drake beef, I'll give you a great example of how they're good behind the scenes. When Drake dropped, I don't remember what record it was or whatever, but his fans were trying to put it up on Instagram, okay. And they kept getting pulled down because Universal was fucking, whatever. Copyright infringement.
Oh my God, it's the same
podcast. Cleared all of that.
I'm tired of these people, man.
Not like us as much as they want. That's just good behind the scenes fighting from the label. You're getting stopped. Your fans are getting stopped from trying to help you fight the beef. His fans is amplifying shit.
Okay, so this already is incorrect because I don't recall anyone having a problem reposting Drake songs, right? I remember that happening for 100 gigs when he put out the little, release shit. But when he was putting up the diss tracks, there was no issue with that. He had a whole interlude of Kendrick Lamar's interlude on Take Care that he redid and put on his Instagram. No problem, right? I knew people in Toronto that were reposting Family Matters. No problem on Instagram. They were reacting to it on YouTube, no issue. Everybody reacted to Family Matters first, then went over to Kendrick Lamar when he dropped Meet the Grams. So that already is incorrect. But let's just say, right, because people were saying Kendrick signed a contract beforehand and all this and that, blah blah blah. Let's just say, because Kendrick did remove the copyright strikes for a certain amount of time. I can't remember how long it was, but he removed them for a certain amount of time when he released Not Like Us, so creators can actually monetize it. Why are we getting mad that Kendrick didn't battle Drake with his best interest in heart? Everything that these people are saying is, oh, Kendrick is smarter than Drake and thought smarter and moved better in the battle. But damn, he's too smart. So it's like, that's not fair, right? No, it is fair. He asked for the smoke, but you are getting into a battle with a tacticianer. I don't even know if that's the right word. I guess I don't know, a tacticianer. I don't know, but you're getting into a battle with a wordsmith, with somebody that's like a skilled guy that sits back and watches all his moves unfold because he already thought about the moves and counter moves. Like that's not a normal guy to just be getting in a battle with, right? And on top of that, we're not even just talking about the raps now and the lyrics. We're talking about the maneuvering of how things are released, how things go, cover arts, taking off the copyright, etc. That's all smart. It's going to incite more people to listen to your music and even have more respect for you than they already did because you're able to do that, even if it's only for a week, right? If Drake was smart, he would have done that too. But now the fans come with the theories like, oh, why didn't they let him do that? Well, he probably never thought of it, right? I don't know why you guys think he's that smart. He probably never thought of that. Why? Because he doesn't want to lose money, one. And two, he's like, oh, I'm Drake. I don't need fans to do that. He probably thinks he's above doing something like that. But then his fans go and spin it in a thing where it's like, no, that's not fair. He was done dirty. Don't listen to any of these pages with dollar signs, Drake pictures, diamond profile pictures as well. Don't listen to them because they take what's being said and they completely wire it into their diluted reality. And we're not a part of that reality, guys. We have common sense, right? So niggas mad Dot has more control over his music than Aubrey. That's hilarious. That's actually funny. Yeah, so it's like I think this person here, I think they worded it pretty nice. I'll read it. It said, with all due respect, Ja, Interscope is a subsidiary of UMG. That man is also signed to UMG. Why would a parent company sabotage his biggest cash cow? Very good question. The judge already dismissed the allegations that the label pushed Not Like Us. It has been proven in the court that it was organic. That man himself posted songs to his burner and got hit with copyright infringements. Exactly. This was 100 gigs because he tried to drop certain things outside of the streaming ecosystem. 100 gigs, by the way. That had nothing to do with beef. Dot and his team chose to whitelist Not Like Us on most social media platforms. Drake's team, on the other hand, did not apply a global whitelist for his diss tracks or the songs or on the man's burner. So due to the songs not being whitelisted, the songs were automatically flagged as unauthorized content to protect IP and revenue. I think that's what they meant, revenue there. There we go. Right? So it's just a situation of people saying, why didn't he battle Drake with his best interest at heart? That's how it translates to me. And it's just very weird. Why would I get in a battle and worry about how they're going to perceive things, how they're going to feel? No, you're going against me, right? God forbid I beat you too bad now, and now you're going to cry. You kicked the hornet's nest. What did you expect? You know? So it's just a lot of this cope, a lot of this cope, man. And it's so pathetic. Drake and other fast food rappers had rap in a place where their fans didn't care about listening to the music. All they care about is cheerleading the chart placement, not the substance or creativity. Drake fans are like, substance? What's that? Creativity? What's that? I need a record to go play in the club so I can go harass people. That's how they sound, right? So, yeah, I agree with that. I think that was Eric Vincent that put that up on Twitter. See if I have anything else in here. I don't think that's, I think that's it for that. So, you know, clearly there's an album coming out soon because the propaganda is revving up. And it's getting very, very noticeable. Don't let the propaganda slide, guys. Keep holding them accountable. Keep coming at them. Keep ripping them apart. I'm all for it. I'm tired of this shit. Right? And if hip hop doesn't like chart on the charts for the next 6 months or however long it takes, I don't care. I still got music that I like. right? I don't give a shit. I know Kendrick gonna be outside soon again, so that's good, right? And you know, in a perfect world, I would have preferred Cole to drop a better album, you know, because as time goes by, I'm like, you know, the off season to me was much better. Even my delete later, I thought was better. Um, it would have been a perfect situation for me because then I had Cole and I had Kendrick, but it's just Kendrick right now that put out a, you know, out of the two that put out a better body of work. And on top of that, Keem Casino is probably my most played album this year so far. I've been running that shit up. So, you know, if that's the case, I have the music that I've listened to over the last little while that has done enough for me. If it hasn't done enough for you, that sucks for you. I don't really care. You know, that's how I feel. So yeah. Let's see. If there's anything else, I probably hop on stream to do more. I'll probably try to record some videos over the weekend, but if not, the time you probably see me upload will probably be sometime early next week. Yeah. There's some content I had planned, but I kind of scrapped it. I was just kind of, you know, when you're like very consumed with other things as well. Like I have a lot of like film shit that I've been like trying to finish on, edit a couple files and all that. So like it's a lot, you know. I can't really do the channel and that at the same time, so I just have to take a break and then come back because that's done. So now I can come back and drop some uploads. But let's see. If there's anything else. Oh, let's react to the Isaiah Rashad song before I go. It's just, you know. You know what it is? Like, if I want to, you know, okay, you know who he reminds me of? The what's his name? I can never pronounce that guy's name. The what's his name? SD Kid? That's what he reminds me of. SD Kid. And SD Kid just sounds better. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Right? No disrespect, but I'm just saying, like, if I just probably put on SD Kid if I was gonna listen to something like this. Where is he from? He's from the UK, you said? Mazza L20. I mean, I'll probably check out more of his stuff. Maybe he has something better on here, but not my cup of tea, bro. Not my cup of tea. Yes, that's the one. Him saying he tried to off himself hit hard. I heard about the leaked tape, but I didn't care. Just decided to check it out, and it was hard to hear him say that. Oh, that's crazy. I don't remember watching the full interview, so yeah, but I imagine he would probably get into that discussion too. And I remember the leak tape. I remember that whole thing dropping on Twitter. It was crazy. It was crazy. But you know, when something like that happens, you know, what he said in the video, you know, makes a lot of sense. He was feeling that way at the time based on, you know, the reaction and all these things coming out, right? But you know, when it comes to, I feel like some of the best artists, you know, they handle things maybe not the best in the present of how they should be. You know, you've heard Absol say he tried to take his life as well. You know what I mean? And you know, he was going through it at a time, but he bounced back and was able to, you know, get himself to a better place, at least mentally or spiritually. And I think the same thing for Isaiah because he does seem more rejuvenated versus how he was 4 or 5 years ago. So I think some of the best artists, again, the genuine ones, things like that are very crazy. They, you know, you attempted, you know, taking your life is serious, right? But at the end of the day, the bounce back for them is always greater, you know, greater than any, you know, chaos or foolishness that's going on in their life. They're able to bounce back in a better form. And that's the part that I look forward to the most for these artists that I genuinely enjoy, because you don't want to hear that, right? You don't want to hear none of that, you know? And it's sad because it's like, yeah, you it's crazy. You could feel so worthless and at a horrible point in your life, but you inspire so many people at the same time, right? And you literally probably change people's opinions and emotions and how they feel about themselves too with your own art form and your art that you put out. So it's like, it's crazy seeing that, right? And you know, sometimes you wish that people, it's kind of hard to look at how everyone else feels about you when you feel a certain way, right? But like I said, it's like if only they were able to realize just how great they are, you know what I mean, what they've done and how it's affected people. Maybe they might feel a little different in the moment, but regardless, he didn't do what he said he did or wanted to do, and you know, he's now in a better place where he's able to put out this album, right? Come back outside and maneuver in the new climate, you know? So that to me is, you know, it's an unfortunate thing to see, right? So, and we all go through depression and have our, you know, moments and things like that. But like I said, when you have that strength to, the bounce back is always greater. And that's the part I look forward to the most. So they ripped him down. It's like, okay, he took his time, he went through life, he experienced his shit, he worked on this body of work, and now he's ready to come back up. And that to me is the best part, because now it's like, yeah, we're gonna see you triumph over all the craziness that happened before. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely looking forward to that. You said he's from Liverpool. Okay. Please watch it. Joe Budden was actually really respectful, which was surprising. Joe Budden and respectful in the same sentence? That's crazy. Wow. I'll actually go check it out today. Because I'm gonna probably do some writing after this and then just, you know, play it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because I never finished the full interview, but I'll definitely take a look. This is an important conversation to have, and I'm pretty sure he'll probably be doing a couple more interviews, you know, leading up to the album too. So we'll probably see him even more in the interview aspect. But yeah, no, I'll definitely check it out. I'll definitely check it out. They were talking about homophobia in hip hop, and it was a good discussion. Okay, yeah, all right, no, that's good. I'll definitely take a look, give it a good listen. I know it was 1-on-1, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, I think that's even better, because that's not something you want to discuss with, you know, the whole pod there. It's not going to be taken seriously, right? So it's better that he does that. I'm genuinely surprised he was able to conduct a legit interview, you know, head to head. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like Joe Budden, you know. Joe Budden has his takes where he's like saying some shit, but it's been so like such a rarity now, you know. You don't really see that side of him now. It's the bullshit that sells, right? You know what I mean? So it is what it is. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. I work on a couple more things. I appreciate you guys for staying in the live. I'm probably gonna cut out the music reactions, so I just don't get striked on the live stream, because I want to put it up. But like I said, if there are any other music drops from Isaiah or anyone else that I rock with, I will definitely live stream them as well on the channel. It'll probably be more live streams for the next few days, right? Like I might live again tomorrow on the weekend, and then going into the new week, and then I will try to drop some videos, like I said, early next week. But there probably won't be any videos dropping for the next couple of days. It'll probably just be more live. So stay tuned for that. We'll get back to being active again. Like I said, I just needed a couple weeks to finish this film shit, but we're good. All right, we're good. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more, and hit the bell for notifications. And I hope you guys all stay blessed and stay tuned, most importantly.